The Meet Me for Coffee podcast is on site this week at the Journal of Commerce Inland Distribution Conference 2025 here in one of my favorite cities, Chicago. I'm excited to have a lot of speakers on the show this week, and we're going to be bringing some great content and hearing a lot of really great insights about what's going on in our industry and the broader supply chain. Hi everyone, thank you so much for listening in again to another episode of the Meet Me for Coffee podcast, recording on site here at the Journal of Commerce Inland Distribution Conference. I'm joined right now with my friend Sam. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's always good to see you up here again. Last year, the funny story is I bailed last year, and so I told myself if she's back, I'm going to commit to it, I'm going to do it. Admittedly, maybe a little nerves, but we're here now. So
we made it happen.
Yeah.
Sam and Sam. So
yeah, and we've crossed paths at several conferences, so now I feel like we're friends.
Yeah, I promise, he'll be able to attest to this at the end of this episode, that if I ever ask you to be on a podcast, it's not scary and you can do it. So you'll do great.
That's right.
Well, I know this is not your first time attending this conference. How many years have you done inland distribution?
Somebody just asked me that. It is my fourth time coming.
Wow, okay. I think you have me beat, because I think I've done 3. So
the first time I came, I was part of the Shipper Roundtable. It was like a private event, and we we paid to sponsor it or whatever. And it was like a huge benefit, learned so much being in that room, and I was like, oh, wow. And for everything 4PL related, I was like, oh, we're really on topic for a lot of the things that we're bringing value in. And so that was like a big segue, we got to do JOC again, So.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad that you keep coming back. It's one of my favorites, and I hear that from a lot of people.
Yeah,
travel. They come once, and then they're like, I'm coming back. Yeah, you're local to Chicago, right?
Yeah, I live in the suburbs now, but love being in the city. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we get too far into this, give me a little bit of your background, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and then tell me about your company and who you work for as well.
Yeah. So, Sam Martinez, I'm now at Redwood Logistics. I've been in the industry for almost 16 years, so officially 15. Started at Command Transportation in 2009, fresh out of college. When I started that job, my mom was like, are you a truck dispatcher? And I'm like, they're telling me it's just training. She was really nervous because I went to Miami, Ohio, took out the loans, the whole thing. But when I got hired, 2 of the recruiters had gone to Miami, several of the successful reps have gone to Miami, and they were just like, look, bottom line, if you give this industry 3 years, work hard, right? It's not going to be easy. 3 years. If you don't give it 3 years, you'll never know the full benefits. If you give it 3 years and you hate it, leave. We will not hold you back whatsoever, but you're going to be better off for working in this job in operations. I was on the sales side. You may come out of training sales or carrier sales.
Yeah.
So I went sales, and I assisted the owner's nephew who had a massive book of business. So I got thrown right into the mix.
Yeah.
And gave it 3 years. And told my mom, if I don't commit to this, just like anything, sports or anything, they're telling me that. And they were not lying to me. So that's some of the biggest advice I give to young people getting into the industry all the time.
Sure. I mean, I did the same thing 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So I came out of school, went into, a training program, sales operations, went into sales, and I heard the same thing, there's so much opportunity in this space, and that has proven true for myself and so many people I know. So there's so much you can learn and just continue to develop and advance in our space. I love that.
Development for sure. So from Command, I was employee number 79, and we grew it to 450.
Wow.
So I got to see that growth, and then we sold to Echo in 2014. We moved down to Echo in 2016, which was easy for me because at the time my apartment was a mile away. So I went from riding on 90-94 in my car to riding my bike.
Yeah.
So Echo for 2 years, and then I went to a startup that I got connected with, and they were building out a lot of AI, agentic AI, large language models for how you dispatch drivers, and there's responses. So we were training the AI to respond to the drivers properly so that the TMS would automatically update those status updates. So, hey, Carlos, are you loaded and rolling? He would say yes, boom, and then we'd ask 3 other questions about ETA and a seal number and things, and so the AI was taking care of it. So I was there for a year, and then one of the companies that were looking into that company was Redwood. That company unfortunately went under 11 months into it. No regrets, but that's how I found Redwood.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so Redwood, you said you're in the 4PL space at Redwood. I haven't talked to a 4PL provider in a little while, so I want to hear from you. What's going on in that space? What's what's the landscape like? What have you guys felt, seen, heard in the last year?
Yeah, so traditional is 3PL. People either see that as like a warehouse managed partner or a third-party logistics company that can help you with your LTL or manage some type of like outsource your logistics to them. A 4PL will go past that because we're dealing with orchestration for how systems are integrated, how you're implementing systems. So like Redwood is one of the top system integrators in the industry. We work with Oracle and Mercury Gates exclusively and implement their software. They sell software, we implement their software, and then those shippers end up becoming our customers. So around that orchestration design for how your systems are working, that's really the 4PL terminology and what's behind it. Gartner's actually coming out with a new Magic Quadrant that we'll be a part of, I think, at the end of October, so they say. So when they release that, we'll be placed in our position. So the
Magic Quadrant is for 4PL now.
4PL category.
They're kind of solidifying 4PL as
That's
their
right.
space in the Gartner space.
That's
okay.
right. So it's going past just managing or outsourcing the logistics.
Yeah.
It's getting into how are they integrating the systems within how are those systems are talking.
Okay,
Yeah.
So 4PLs are in a position where you have to be discussing and aligning with shipper strategy, right?
Yeah.
And so what are you guys kind of hearing right now from shippers? Like, what are they thinking about, worried about, concerned about, wanting to know? What are some of those trends?
Yeah, I think they have procured their way down to a very good number over the last 3 years. And I would say logistics and procurement have worked hand in hand since COVID to really streamline as much as they can, get the savings down. But now we're in this like weird place where you see demand is just muted across all sectors. So how much wallet share matters. You see rates slowly upticking. It might be like a small blip, but tender rejections are real right now, and there's a number of reasons why. But I think as a shipper, you're not going to procure your way to your savings targets.
Yeah.
And I think finance and a lot of customers in this low demand area are like, how are we going to hold EBITDA? How are we going to retain our customers? How are we going to outperform our competition? Well, that's where the value of 4PL can come in for shippers, is saying, well, what does your data strategy look like? How well are your systems talking to you? How are you weaponizing that data, actionizing that data? How are you thinking about AI for the future of your warehouses and your supply chain? Because similar to like brokers and 3PLs and 4PLs, we're all trying to like lower our operating costs and show our shippers. So without talking about labor and changing jobs, the truth is there's solutions out there. It's how do we go and find the right solution for us and then feel really confident that we have the data to feed some type of AI solution. So for us at Redwood, we are supporting data strategies, we are supporting logistics strategies through our brokerage and managed trans. We want to be that one-stop shop for that full provider so that if we are in a relationship for 3 years in a managed service environment, we are helping all sides of your business so that finance feels it, your operators feel it, your warehouse feel it, and certainly your customers. Like, let's deliver some speed.
As AI is really coming on the scene a lot more, are you guys, what is the role of the 4PL when it comes to like technology? Are you guys also trying to help advise customers, shippers, keep up with new processes and technologies?
Yeah, so consultancy is always a part of that game. You have specific supply chain consultants, you do have large ones like Accenture or Deloitte, McKinsey, and they have their own services and partnerships established too.
Sure.
For us, those are big dollars. Those are hundreds of thousands of dollars relationships that might be over 2 to 5 years. For us, we feel that we are a shortcut to speed and a service around your technology. The tech stack within a shipper's environment is unique to them.
Yeah.
They brought in 8, 10, 12, 15 different platforms. And what is the return on those? Like, how do you measure that? It's not an IT thing. That's what some logistics managers say, well, that's an IT thing. Well, it's affecting your bottom line and your P&L as well. So what I love working with the shippers who are really forward thinking of like 18 2-month roadmaps that involve the technology and the freight and the analytics that come together. And there's these buyers and these category managers out there now, like Center of Excellence, that are working with these groups cross-functionally to say, how is this benefiting everybody? That's what Redwood really embraces, is like, how is this going to affect your customers, your suppliers, your compliance, and the routing of your freight? So we try to find a solution somewhere within that, but yeah.
Okay, so just before I was talking about RFP season.
Oh, yeah.
RFP season's coming up. Everyone's trying to think about pricing.
Q4, baby.
Q4 heading into 26. We just heard this morning about the North American economic outlook, and they were talking about pricing and what they're predicting. And so, are you comfortable? Kind of like, what's your thoughts on making a prediction for what the future of freight is holding for us?
Yeah, I mean, if you just speak within the brokerage environment, volume's down. So we talked about reducing operating costs. Who can do that successfully? I think that you'll see continued of acquisitions. Like Redwoods have gone through I think 8 major acquisitions throughout our time. It's a way to catalyze growth. If you look at what RXO is doing and several other big players out there, it is, I wouldn't say race to the top, but I think when I think about a brokerage and I think about all the dynamics that they have to go through to retain EBITDA, because that's what you have to deliver, and I know financially a lot of them are struggling out there, it's making sure your customers understand your long-term strategy. So you always have your rep, but you really need to have a relationship solidified with, say, your top 20% customer base to say, do they know your long-term strategy? Are there any questions? Are there any cracks? What do you need? How transparent do you need to be? Because on a routing guide, primary isn't always the best spot right now. And so that's where I think the relationships really come into play, but also the value that you're driving outside of just that brokerage relationship, I think is extremely important. So if you're not diversified, you better be really good at what you do. And if you are diversified, start finding who those customers are going to be and make sure that your sales process is really focused on that new, diversified segment of customers.
Awesome. And are you optimistic to see some changes in the broader freight market in 2026?
Yeah, I'm I was leading brokerage at Redwood for a while as part of the sales side of it. And now I'm on the 4PL space, so I work cross-functionally within our organization on our existing customers. I definitely look forward to watching how brokerages are reacting. I look at applications like Convoy, for example, who got brought out by DAT. I think something like that is so unique to where brokerages thought in-house, we do it best for so long, and now there are these tools, like Highway included. Like there's these partnerships that are available where if Convoy's, with XYZ broker, and then now they've taken on more market share because that's going to help them connect with different, it's, you just in that scenario alone is, well, if they're partnered with several different brokers, how are these brokers managing the relationship? Again, it's about how well your customers know your long-term strategy. You got to get ahead somehow, but when you're third-party partners, also third parties with others, that's where you need to just make sure you know what your lane is going to be. So that's outside of any regulatory, any governmental changes, any driver shortages. I'm excited for all of that, but I really try to focus on what I can control. Yeah. I'm excited what I can control.
Yeah. So. No, that's a great way to put it. I mean, at this point, we are facing so many things that are absolutely out of our control that it's really that control what you can control thing that people have said forever is very applicable right now, because policy uncertainty, not a lot we can do about that. Tariffs, not a lot we can do.
You do some consulting. What are you excited about?
I'm excited for 2026. I think that there's a good chance that we see some moderate improvement in manufacturing or I would hope residential housing markets that help to drive a lot of activity. So, I mean, I think the unfortunate reality is we have attrited a decent amount of carrier capacity. It's one of those necessary evils of our space. So, it's not fun to talk about people going out of business, but at the end of the day, it's going to help those who stay be stronger when we come back around. And I just really hope that, if and when things change, we've all take a more balanced approach and we don't have these, vendettas coming out from the carrier side or the broker side. So I think that I think data is helping with that. We all have access to better real-time information. We all kind of generally know, for the most part, what margins brokers are making right now, what rates we're running things out with carriers, and that's really not as big of a secret as people think it is, and I think we're starting to realize that. So I just hope that we're all starting to become a little bit more symbiotic in the space.
We call it like our core thesis, and what's really differentiated us is like the idea of like around open ecosystem.
Yeah.
There's so many different independent software vendors.
Sure.
There's so many different carrier solutions now, visibility solutions, IoT devices, things of that nature. That as you would think about adopting like open ecosystem, I do feel like this world that was very segmented and competitive is coming. I mean, we're still years away, but it's very much coming to a closed. It's closed, but like this open ecosystem of connectivity. And Redwood would love to, because we work with 3PLs and we work with forwarders, and they have tech stacks too, and they need to normalize their data and their systems to be able to talk to each other to get them faster delivery for their customers and get their data to their customers. And so like in that lens, Redwood is, yes, I am focused on shipper, but we are adding a ton of value among 3PLs, and there's a lot of companies popping up, but for all these AI agents that are out here helping, your data's not in a good place. So we embraced open ecosystem, which was our competition for brokerage, not necessarily our competition on the technology side. So yeah. I think the future's bright just in terms of like everybody getting to the place of it's logistics and tech.
Yes.
And I think we've been saying that, but now I think it's a real big competitive advantage if you are speaking that language versus not.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think you're right. We've been saying that for years, but this is actually the time we've been saying it's going to be coming. We're living it now. Like this year into next year, like this is actually the time we've been saying it's coming. Like we're here, we're in it.
I also think the development of a generation that's been grinding logistics out for so long, and you have entrepreneurs, but I see these consultant entrepreneurs like definitely older in their tenure, a little bit more gray hair. But as our generation starts to take control of things, I think they're very quickly adopting like a learning process and being able to try out new things and take a segment of their business and pilot it this way because they know like you can't just sit in one place.
Yeah.
You can procure all the way you want, but like it only gets you so far. So
yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for making the time to join me. We finally made it happen. A couple conferences later, we got you on the podcast, so I appreciate you taking the time. How was it? Was it easy? Was it pain-free?
This was fantastic. I knew it was going to be pain-free. You've obviously gotten much better at this. I tune into your coffee segments. I really I like it. And if you don't get your marketing out there, for anybody who's like afraid to get your word out there, Sam is right. Prepare, get polished. I took some notes down what I want to talk to Sam about, gave her some bullets. But if you are not confident in speaking value to the masses in these situations, then send somebody else from your organization that is. Otherwise, get used to it so that when Sam puts it out there, your boss's boss can be like, well, I'm glad he did that. So
glad we hired that guy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
You bet.
And thank you, everyone, for meeting us for coffee. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Meet Me for Coffee podcast. We're recording on-site at the Journal of Commerce Inland Distribution Conference this week. If you like this episode, be sure to check out our channels where we'll have multiple others published here this week with content from the show. And in just a couple of weeks, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming, discussing where freight markets and economics meet. I hope you guys can meet us for coffee.